So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Month of Sun. Oh, fuck it. Who am I kidding? I can't review these games in a month span. We're already 2 weeks into November. Fuck it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a Sonic the Hedgehog marathon. During the 16-bit era, Sonic was on top of the world. Kids loved them, the games are great, and why? Ladies and gentlemen, meet the Sega Dreamcast, which was originally released in Japan of 1998 and 1999 for everyone else. One of the first games released for the system was Sonic Adventure, marking the first time Sonic made his true jump into the 3D world. I remember the commercial like it was yesterday. There's a party inside the Dreamcast and Sonic spinning the wheels like nothing else.
Man, stay off the light speed!
My bad.
It got me excited. I wouldn't own a Dreamcast until 2001, but when I got my hands on it, one of the first games I owned was Sonic Adventure. And Evolution 2, but that was a gift along with Echo the Dolphin. The two head over to the Mystic Ruins where they encounter Dr. Robotnik, who Sonic insultantly addresses as Eggman. Actually, Eggman is what Robotnik was called in Japan. Yeah, Dr. Eggman, that's his real name. Anyway, Dr. Robotnik informs Sonic that he's after the Chaos Emeralds and wants to use them to power up Chaos, who will become all-powerful when fed all 7 of them. He wants to use Chaos's power to destroy Station Square and build Robotnik Land over the ruins. I never exactly understood why Robotnik needed to destroy Station Square specifically in order to build his own city. I mean, isn't there plenty of room for both cities? Did he destroy Station Square when he built Eggman Land and Sonic Unleashed? Actually, that's a rather strong possibility. There's also a big purple cat here for some reason who apparently wants his frog back. With all Chaos Emeralds at his disposal, Chaos becomes perfect Chaos and completely floods Station Square. Don't worry though, no casualties. I'm serious, not a single goddamn person dies from any of this. While we see that the streets are clearly crowded the instant Perfect Chaos makes a move, just mere moments later we see the streets are completely barren with no human in sight. Forget Sonic the Hedgehog, the fastest things alive are the citizens of Station Square. After ramming into Perfect Chaos's head enough times, Supersonic neutralizes Chaos, causing him to become good again. Call thanks Sonic and departs into the afterlife with Chaos. The day is saved, but Station Square is still left in complete shambles, so does that mean Dr. Robotnik can build Robotnik Land now? I don't know, I'm just curious. Call herself is not well integrated into the main story. Instead of finding a good way to explain what she's all about in addition to the origins of Chaos, the game just decides to interrupt each character's quest with exposition that comes off as annoying and disorganized. She also does this with Gamma and Big the Cat, who have no significance to the main plot. I mean, look at them. Why are they being shown any of this?
The servers are the 7 Chaos Emeralds, unified by one that is the controller.
This reaches its peak at the final part of the story, where Tikal just suddenly decides to stop Sonic in the middle of a conversation with Tails and Knuckles, providing one last ounce of exposition to explain how Chaos wrecked shit up in the past. And it's not like time freezes or anything like that. No, as soon as Sonic's brought back to his time, Tails comments that Sonic just conked out. Could you imagine what that would have looked like from Tails or Knuckles' perspective?
The 7 emeralds are the servers. Chaos is power enriched by the heart.
Emerald Coast is a lovely little resort area in Station Square that contains giant killer whales that want Sonic dead. Expect to see a lot of that, folks, throughout Sonic's 3D career. These whales have it out for Sonic the Hedgehog. Windy Valley contains a lot of high-speed twists and turns and a non-lethal tornado. Seriously, 1/3 of the stage is Sonic climbing up a tornado. Video game logic at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. Sky Deck. Ugh, what a pain in the ass. There's so many ways to die here. If it's not a bottomless pit, it's the awkward as hell level design that can fuck with your controls, which can also lead to a bunch of camera issues. Ugh, this tilted view makes me dizzy. I just want it to end, goddammit. Let me be blunt for the sake of time. Character battles are outright laughable. Check this out. The only thing I'm doing with Gamma here is mashing the shoot button.
Oh no!
They're good for a laugh, but in terms of an actual fight, they're terrible.
Oh no!
You said it, Knuckles. Gamma's boss fights are just pathetic. I can beat them all just by pushing the shoot button, I'm dead serious. Yeah, you can't do that with the final boss, but Gamma's still 1 for 5. Big? You can also get the fighting gloves allowing Knuckles to perform the maximum heat Knuckles attack. Sounds awesome, right? I barely use it. Again, I prefer to jump or glide on enemies, plus they're yellow and ugly looking. Think of Amy as Sonic, only nowhere near as fast, no homing attack, can't jump on enemies, and can't even roll into a ball. Actually, scratch that. Amy is nothing like Sonic except that they're both hedgehogs. Fishing? Fishing? Who the hell asked for this? I mean, you could argue the same thing for Gamma and Amy, but at least they're still based around platforming and such, but fishing? Why would I want to fish in a Sonic game? It's not like you have to conquer enemies or ride dash panels or go through loops. No, you just approach the pool of water Froggy's in, sit on your ass, and fish. When you cast your lure, you can manipulate the string by tilting the analog stick, which can catch the attention of, "No, go away, I don't want you, I want, Okay, yeah, you can catch other things besides Froggy, but it does nothing but improve your score. Well, I don't care about that, I just want Froggy. If you reel in your string too fast, it's a possibility that the string will break, costing you a life. Apparently, Big never keeps any spare fishing line with him. There we go, you're all mine now, wait, what happened? What happened? Did he just let go? What the? He did it again! Why does that happen? Oh my god, I just want to catch the damn frog! There we go, Jesus! I lost the frog. 7 minutes? My god! Right before the second stage, Big can nab the flotation device upgrade, allowing him to swim and get right next to Froggy for an easy catch. But why can't I just grab him? He's right there! Do I really need to use my fishing rod? Why can't I invest in a fishing net? What kind of fisherman are you? What does this have anything to do with this? The answer? Nothing. Thing is, I never bother with this sort of thing. I know that sounds weird coming from a guy who loves Pokemon and such, but raising Chao is nowhere near as exciting as raising Pokemon. I mean, you pet them, okay, you can pick them up, okay, you can cheer them in a race, okay, if you're playing the Dreamcast version you can transfer your Chao into the virtual memory unit, alright, you can buy stuff for them at the Black. Why does an empty can cost 4,000 rings? Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the presentation. The voice direction is...
Oh yeah! This is happening!
Questionable. For the first time ever in the gaming universe, Sonic and company are fully voiced, and the end result is... well...
chaos!
I wouldn't classify it as horrendous, but I guess they weren't sure how to have Sonic and the rest act in their 3D debut.
Hey Knuckles, what's up?
Hate the delivery of that line. Even when they attempt to be cinematic, it still looks incredibly stiff, and sometimes the graphics just flat out glitch up. Look at Sonic's eye here. I had no idea his head was also a slot machine. Tails does that on occasion as well, and... So next time we meet, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at Sonic Adventure 2 for the Sega Dreamcast and the re-released Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the Nintendo GameCube. So see you guys then, and may God have mercy on myself, this channel, and all of you. Every single last one of you.
You should actually pull the other one from behind. Now you have a magical ass.
Okay, I could do that.
The military's top-secret weapon, Project Shadow, was stolen from a military base located on the deserted island in the southern seas. This incident increased worldwide terrorist activities. Sonic the Hedgehog was arrested. The adventure for truth leads to the incidents that shock the entire world. The story takes our hero Sonic from the Earth and into outer space. Sonic Adventure 2, Hero Side Story. Farewell, Sonic. Forever.
Who's this Black Hedgehog? Holy shit, you can play as Dr. Eggman? Sounds interesting. Of course, I first jumped on Sonic Adventure 1 when I got the Dreamcast, but as soon as I had my fill and when the money was right, I immediately made a beeline towards Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Shuffle. But I don't like to talk about that game. I knew some of you were wondering if I was ever going to review this game anytime soon, but I no longer own it and I don't plan on getting it again for the time being. Anyway, Sonic is mistakenly arrested by Gun for robbing a bank and destroying military buildings, but in actuality it was Shadow, no shit. I'm still baffled as to how the military mistook these two. There's even a point in the story where the media has a clear-cut view of Shadow, but they still think it's Sonic the Hedgehog. Never mind ignoring the fact that Sonic is blue and that he saved Station Square from a giant liquid dildo. Speaking of which, where was Gun when Perfect Chaos was unleashed? Were they on sabbatical leave? Suddenly Amy! Yep, Amy appears out of fucking nowhere, mistaking Shadow for Sonic, leading to a bit of awkwardness, although it does look like Shadow's enjoying the moment at least. Suddenly Tails! After hearing a news report, Tails makes it his mission to bust Sonic out of Prison Island. After an incident 50 years ago aboard the Ark, Maria, with her dying breath, wishes for Shadow to escape to Earth and Well, that's where the flashbacks end. Shadow, I'm guessing as a result of being sealed up for 50 years, interprets this as seek revenge against humanity. How the hell did he come to that conclusion? Nothing in these flashbacks instigate that Maria wants Shadow to avenge her, so where did this need for human extinction come from? His memory is clearly fuzzy about a few things, so why blame the entire planet for Maria's death and not just the very few people who put the bullet in Maria's back? Shadow, your thinking patterns confuse me. With 6 Chaos Emeralds at hand, Dr. Eggman demonstrates the power of the Eclipse Cannon by firing a warning shot at the moon, destroying half of it in the process. Rouge loves collecting jewels and wants to add the Master Emerald to her collection. Eggman attempts to steal it with Knuckles shattering it to prevent him from doing so. I'm just gonna assume Angel Island fell safely into the ocean with no casualties. With the help of Knuckles, Sonic and Tails discover Eggman's hidden base located inside this pyramid, where a conveniently placed space shuttle awaits, allowing the trio to enter the space colony. Where the hell did this space shuttle come from? It's never explained why it's here. It can't belong to Eggman. He has a teleportation device that easily allows him to access the Ark from his control room inside the pyramid. Having this lying around would not only be redundant, but it'd be an extreme security risk and... Alright, you made your point. Knuckles crash lands the shuttle on the Ark, but he decides he doesn't want to be a part of the plot anymore, leaving Sonic, Tails, and Amy to stop Eggman. Folks, I know at the end of the day it's a story with a blue hedgehog, a fox with 2 tails, and a supposed echidna who wears too much junk, but this is something that's always bothered me since my very first playthrough. How in the world did Sonic do this? Can you honestly tell me that he learned to use Chaos Control from Shadow just by watching him do it? I'm sorry, but that seems very unlikely to me. I can buy using a fake emerald that's not as powerful as a real Chaos Emerald, but to have Sonic do something he's never even attempted to perform before and then actually succeeds in doing so just screams ass pull. And that makes 2 so far for this story. The space shuttle, which has no reason to be there, and this little stunt. Sonic manages to thwart Shadow and prevents the cannon from firing, all while letting Tails and Amy know that he's okay. Look at that shit-eating grin. Oh, and Knuckles recovers the last of the Master Emeralds in space while making amends with Rouge, so huzzah for them. It's implied that Joe reprogrammed Shadow's mind to carry out the mission to destroy Earth after breaking down from Maria's death. And while that would explain why Shadow jumped into the whole revenge conclusion, when did Gerald get the chance to do that? From what I got with the story, I always thought that Gerald was immediately taken away from the Ark during the night of the raid and immediately placed in a jail cell where he could do no more research and development. And if that's true, then that would mean that he did program the Ark to crash into the Earth before Maria's death, and oh, my head hurts! The more I try to understand the story, the more it falls apart. I mean, am I missing something here? I used to think this story was good, but the older I get, the more I start to notice all the little plot holes, and it bothers the hell out of me. Sonic and Knuckles reach the core, and suddenly Giant Lizard! Actually, this is the Bio Lizard, the prototype of the ultimate life form. Yes, before Shadow the Hedgehog, there was this thing. How Gerald went from giant-ass lizard to small black hedgehog is something I'll never understand, but who cares? Science. Now don't worry, it's not like this creature comes completely out of nowhere. In fact, when Rouge is gathering info on Project Shadow, you can see a picture of it right there. See? Foreshadowing. Immediately after, though, Shadow falls to his death with his promise to Maria fulfilled. Sonic, he's completely fine. I guess he had more rings than Shadow did. How else would he not suffer the same fate as Shadow? They both used the massive chaos control. They were both in the same place at the same time when it happened, so why is it just Shadow that's falling towards Earth? Damn main character immunity. You and your tricks. The Ancient Light upgrade also returns, but like last time, I barely use the damn thing. It never seems to work properly with me anyway. Just look at Shadow orbiting this gun robot like a ridiculously insane moon. Oh right, Sonic can also get the magic hands, allowing him to transform enemies into action figures. It's probably the most useless power-up in Sonic history, as you don't need it to complete anything, and it's too much of a pain to set up properly anyway. Oh goddammit! First off, the radar system has been significantly butchered. You can only detect one emerald piece at a time. See this? It's a Master Emerald piece, but it's not the one the game wants me to locate at the moment. They want me to locate the piece over here, and then come back to collect this one. During your first playthrough, there will be times where you could potentially be right next to an emerald piece, but if it's not the one the game wants you to find, you'll never know it's there until you collect the other pieces first. Being able to only detect one piece at a time is an incredibly stupid method of stretching out game time. In Adventure 1, if you were close to any emerald piece, the radar would let you know. That's good. Look at this, I'm exploring this hallway, the radar is not going off at all. Oh, here's the emerald piece the game wanted me to find first. And oh, look at that. Now the radar is going off in the area I previously explored. That's so stupid.
Set the timer for 15 minutes. Let's go, Rouge.
5 minutes should be plenty.
No, he said 15 minutes. 15 minutes! Wait, doesn't Rouge work for Gun? Why do I have to pass through all this security shit to get something that belongs to the organization that Rouge works for? Aren't they in on this whole thing? I hate the space levels, Meteor Herd and Mad Space, especially Mad Space. It's got everything. Unnecessarily spacious level design, wonky gravity controls, and to top it all off, the hint system is reversed. Do you want me to have a good time or not, guys? In all honesty, I don't find the mech shooting levels to be all that bad. For Dr. Eggman, what the hell is Tails doing in a mech? Did he suddenly become paralyzed from the waist down and he's unable to use his legs anymore? No, the cutscenes show that he's perfectly capable of walking, so what's going on here? Then there's Mission Street, which Tails runs through because he needs to escape military pursuit. Hello? Your mech is also a fucking plane! Just transform it back and hightail it out of there. Why are we blowing shit up here? We have no business being here. Not to mention the abundance of cheap enemy placement. In fact, cheap enemy placement is another serious issue I have with these stages as a whole. I can't even begin to tell you the amount of times an enemy suddenly dropped right in front of me with no time to react to it. Oh, what horseshit. I stated last time that character battles in Adventure 1 were a complete joke, and they're not much better here. Shadow and Sonic just dance around waiting for an opening, Knuckle and Rouge spend most of their time fighting the camera instead of each other, and Tails and Eggman just try to outlast a war of attrition. They're nothing dazzling. Better than Adventure 1's for sure, but not by much.
Nice try, Rocky.
You want you got it! You got it!
Yeah, I found the president.
Yes! I finally passed that mission! For the first time in Sonic history, you're ranked at the end of each stage or mission you complete. The better you perform, the better your rank, with the highest being the A rank. If you want to collect all the emblems in this game, you're going to need to A rank every single stage and every single mission within this stage. How do you do this? Well, it's simple. Don't die, kill everything in sight, score as many bonus points as you can, collect every ring imaginable, and do it really, really fast. Actually, that doesn't sound simple at all. That sounds like a major pain in the ass. And it is. One of the most defining examples I can think of is Metal Harbor, Sonic's second stage. Turns out there's another point of the rocket that you can grab that's higher up and takes longer to get to. But son of a bitch, is it so hard to get to with the amount of time you're giving? You have to be so precise with your movements, so precise with your jumps, and if you fuck up, you have to do the entire stage over again if you want a chance at the A rank. Granted, Metal Harbor isn't a long stage to begin with, but to have the key to achieving the A rank located at the end of the stage is just flat out dickish. Come on, Sonic, you can do it. Damn it! Oh, these walkways are so damn narrow. There we go, baby. Oh man, fuck! No, I was so close!
3, 2, 1. Fire.
Yes! Yes, I did it! And it only took me 39 attempts. That's 39 full playthroughs of Metal Harbor. Christ, that was frustrating. If I have to keep doing shit like that just to get more A ranks or to get more emblems, then no thanks. I'll pass. Then you could wait a damn moment. Tails is out of his mech. Look, he can run reasonably fast and he can fly too. Ah! Huh. Look at that. He can control Eggman out of his mech too. That's rather surreal, honestly. The voice acting has also been improved considerably as well. Everyone voices their characters pretty well, with one or two exceptions, mind you. Tails' voice actor sounds like he's always reading directly from the script, and Eggman can sound quite odd at times.
Let's get to work.
Then, of course, we have the main theme of the game, Live and Learn, performed by Crush 40. If there's one thing I enjoy about the final boss, it's that this theme plays in the background during the fight. It's the theme song that's become integrated with modern Sonic, and for good reason. It's a bitching piece of music and makes for a spectacular final boss theme. I highly recommend this piece to anyone who... Yeah, the Dreamcast had that problem of screaming like a fucking banshee every time it began to read discs. Luckily, I think this is a good time to jump into the port that was released for the Nintendo GameCube, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. You piece of junk, don't crap out on me now. In the original Sonic Adventure 2, you can unlock additional characters by collecting more emblems like Amy, Metal Sonic, Tikal, or Chaos. In battle, every character is unlocked to begin with, which I appreciate. Look at this, Amy is actually pretty badass here. Her homing attack is a bit annoying though because she doesn't stop saying every time she performs it. Yosh. Sonic games being released on a Nintendo console. It all started in 2002 with Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the GameCube, but in 2004, Sonic's first multi-platformer game was released titled Sonic Heroes. For this video, we're going to be reviewing the version I own, which is the GameCube version. I don't have any experience with the Xbox version, and I know the PlayStation 2 version is considered the worst with a consistently piss-poor frame rate and severe collision detection issues. Still made a nice Christmas gift though, right, Elliot? I love you too. A game that focused exclusively on the main trio? Well, that's what I thought at first, but as soon as I turned the case around, I discovered that you can play as over 12 characters. Jesus Christ! Big! Oh god. Shadow? The hell? Cream the Rabbit? From Sonic Advance 2? Alright. Gamma on steroids. Okay. And finally, Team Chaotix, starring Espio the Chameleon, Vector the Crocodile, and Charmy Bee. I'm gonna assume Mighty the Armadillo forgot to set his alarm clock yet again. For those of you who don't know, and I'm gonna guess it's about 3 of you at this point, Team Chaotix originated from Knuckles Chaotix, a game released for the pathetically short-lived 32X add-on for the Sega Genesis. I would have reviewed the game by now, but I don't have the cable that connects the 32X to the Genesis, and I can't find one for the life of me. I'm probably just gonna buckle down and use an emulator anyway, but that's for another time. Team Rose is looking for Cream's missing buddy Chocola Chao and Big's friend Froggy. Yep, he lost the goddamn frog again. Luckily, there's no fishing involved this time around, thank God. Team Chaotix is on the hunt because they run a detective agency and need to pay the rent. That's it. But everything is not as it seems. Throughout the 4 teams' adventures, they'll encounter Dr. Eggman multiple times, only to discover that they're robot duplicates. Oh, I'm sorry, random shadow robot. Don't you just hate when you find a robotic copy of yourself just lying on the floor for no reason whatsoever? Anyway, as Team Chaotix discovers at the end of their journey, the real Dr. Eggman was imprisoned inside his own base by his own creation, Metal Sonic, who spent the entire game collecting data on all 4 teams. Metal Sonic uses this data to transform into a metallic clusterfuck sporting an extremely long transformation sequence. You can make a damn sandwich while this guy is transforming, or at the very least grab a drink with ice. You can check your email, you can post something on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, check my Let's Play channel, brain scratch commentaries, order a pizza with a side of buffalo wings, call your grandparents. My god, he's still transforming! At the end of Team Dark's story, Rouge discovers a giant room containing endless copies of Shadow robots. This makes Rouge question whether or not the Shadow that's been tagging along just another robotic clone or the original from Sonic Adventure 2. Well, we don't find an answer to that here, that's for sure. Damn cliffhangers. I think my favorite character in this game will have to be Omega. He's so hell-bent on taking out Eggman and his robots that he'll look for every opportunity to make fun of other robots or take shots at his own teammates for slacking off on the mission. Sonic Heroes' story isn't perfect by any means. I mean, there are times where the writing can be outright silly. Remember when I said that some teams would eventually encounter each other throughout their story? Well, sometimes the reasoning for fighting in the first place is just plain bizarre.
Sonic?
Amy, what are you doing here?
Sonic, this time there's no way out of marrying me.
She wants to physically assault Sonic just so he can marry her? There are no hub worlds, no upgrades to collect, no mech shooting, no treasure hunting stages, no Chao garden, just high-speed platforming action. Thank God. I mean, did you see how long the adventure reviews were? If I had to review any more unique gameplay styles, I was gonna lose my goddamn mind.
But John, what about...
We're not at that game yet! Please, let me bask in the moment. I also don't like that you can't switch formations in midair. I could have saved myself plenty of times if only I had the ability to save myself from certain death. I mean, you see your teammates defying physics all the goddamn time, so why can't I switch to someone who's not falling down a bottomless pit to save my life? No! Wait, I was conscious, you saw that! This is level design I'm looking for in a Sonic game, and for the most part, I think Sonic Heroes does that remarkably well. I repeat, for the most part. While Sonic Heroes contains levels that I absolutely love, it also has a share of stages that I absolutely cannot fucking stand for the life of me! First up, we have Casino Park, a stage where you'll spend most of your time under the mercy of the level's god-awful pinball physics. I'm not kidding, they're terrible. It's bad enough that I'm not a fan of pinball to begin with, but when it controls like utter ass and have highly questionable collision detection, there's nothing but misery up ahead. The camera angles are also awkward as fuck. I can't play pinball effectively like this. At least the pinball machines in Casinopolis back in Adventure 1 gave me a better view. Each team represents a different difficulty. Team Rose is considered to be the easy mode. Team Sonic is considered to be the normal mode. Team Dark is considered to be the hard mode, and Team Chaotix is just... well, more on that later. Difficulty in this game is determined by stage length and how many enemies are thrown at you. What may take Team Rose about 4 minutes to complete could take 8 minutes for Team Sonic or Team Dark to complete. Imagine this grid to be your common stage. Team Rose's goal ring will be located here, while Team Sonic's will be located here, and so on and so forth. It also doesn't help when I start encountering frustrating issues near the very end of the stage. I hated playing through Mystic Mansion as Team Sonic, because this section right here always fucks me over. Damn it, no! I have to replay the entire stage all over again, all 9 minutes of it. Now you're probably thinking, well, Johnny, if you don't like the level length of Team Sonic, Team Dark, or Team Chaotix, then just stick to Team Rose then.
People, I wish I could, but there's one problem. There's a final story segment.
Unlike the last two titles, the Chaos Emeralds aren't integrated into the plot. Sort of. In order to collect the Chaos Emerald, you need to find a special key located inside the second act of a zone, and complete the rest of the stage without taking any damage. Then, by completing the special stage, you can nab the Chaos Emerald. These special stages are horrible! In order to collect the emerald, you need to keep your speed going by collecting these colorful orbs and grab the emerald before reaching the exit. The more orbs you collect, the faster you get. You can even boost when you fill enough of the meter to get even more speed. Your obstacles are two things: these spike bombs that slow you down exponentially, and the worst control I've ever experienced in a Sonic game. Holy shit! It's so slippery, it's so jittery, and it's so easy to fuck up. If you don't collect enough orbs to reach that emerald in the first 15 seconds of the special stage, you will fail! I mentioned in the previous reviews that I had no problem playing as multiple characters to get the full story, but back then, especially in Adventure 2, characters at least had their own unique stages that created a fresh new experience. Here, every team goes through the exact same levels and the exact same boss fights at the exact same time. Monotony, thy name is Sonic Heroes!
Want some more?
Oh, I hate that line! This is the first Sonic game ever to have characters speak to each other during the course of the stage, and while it could lead to some fun little callbacks from past games, a lot of the times it's the characters pointing out the painfully fucking obvious.
I'm falling!
Time to get serious!
It's pretty damn sad when the most comfortable time I can have with Sonic Heroes involves a love-starved pink hedgehog, a rabbit with an extremely annoying voice, and a big purple cat that's voiced by Duke Nukem.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm getting kind of sick of Sonic the Hedgehog, so I think I'm gonna go back. Oh, God! Oh, alright! I'll review the game. But I need more prep time for this one. I gotta make sure I get all of my points across for this game, so this one's gonna take a little longer than the other ones, but next time we meet, ow!
Beaten by fruit, how weak they must be.
Like many people, when the first ever trailer debuted for this game, I seriously thought this was an April Fool's joke. The concept was just so absurd. Shadow the Hedgehog packing heat? What? Why? What's the deal with the whole renegade or hero gimmick? Didn't Heroes establish that he's at most an anti-hero? Look at him in the intro of Team Dark Story. He rescues Rouge from Omega's opening assault. Oh, such a renegade. Aliens. So, it's up to you. Do you ally yourself with Black Doom and take over the world? Do you go solo, remain neutral throughout the game? Or will you team up with the good guys and put an end to Black Doom's scheme? Well folks, in the end that doesn't mean a goddamn thing because there's a last story segment that has Shadow ultimately stop Black Doom's plans and save the world from what's possibly the worst story device ever to rear its head into the franchise, making the entire concept of the game entirely worthless.
Why did they do that? I mean, why make us think our choices matter in the grand scheme of things and then completely nullify it with a last story segment that's officially canon to the Sonic universe? I mean, what about the people that wanted an evil Shadow the Hedgehog? Don't those people's choices matter too?
What's even worse is that even without the final story segment, Shadow the Hedgehog's story is all over the place. Depending on your choices, Shadow could be an evil tyrant, an outright douchebag, your typical anti-hero, a confused creature that seriously thinks he's a robot, or a heroic hedgehog. Take the neutral pathway for example. We have the beginning with Black Doom, and we're introduced to the commander of Gun, who has a vendetta against Shadow. But by the end of the neutral pathway, these two characters are completely forgotten with no closure whatsoever, and instead we have a moping Shadow wondering if he's actually a robot. The story is full of all sorts of retcons and inconsistencies. The moon! Look at the moon! Wasn't it blown in half in Adventure 2? Are we just gonna ignore that now? The fucking moon was blown in half! But I think the biggest problem of them all is in the last story. During the final confrontation between Shadow and Black Doom, Team Chaotix managed to retrieve an old video feed of Geralt Robotnik in the Ark, who explains to Shadow that he developed the Eclipse Cannon for the purpose of destroying Black Doom and his army. When Shadow saves the day, the military and the president change their minds about Geralt Robotnik and claim that they were wrong about him and they should honor his legacy.
Hello? This is the same man who programmed the Ark to fall into the earth as retaliation for the military killing his granddaughter. Yeah, sure, Gunn was still wrong for doing so, but this man was going to wipe out all of humanity as an act of revenge. He's no saint. He shouldn't be honored.
Why was this story necessary in the first place? There was no need for this. Did they purposely not have Rouge or anybody else tell Shadow about his past just so we can have this game? Who the hell cares about Shadow's past at this point? Didn't Sonic Adventure 2 have enough of that already? Yeah, I wanted a little more reason for why the military raided the Ark in the first place, but fucking aliens? This isn't even in the so bad it's good category. This is just plain awful. I don't care about the voice acting. I don't care that the characters are suddenly swearing, although I will say that's a pathetic attempt at trying to make the game edgy. And I certainly don't care about the major villain in the game, Black Doom. Enemies are once again rocking health bars like in Sonic Heroes, but with a weapon, enemies go down real easily. Shadow can still take out enemies the traditional way, such as jumping on them or using the homing attack, but the game really wants you to use weapons, and they work rather well. I especially get a kick out of the vacuum gun, an homage to Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. Is that game any good? Anyway. But in case you're not packing heat and for some reason don't feel like using the homing attack, Shadow also has basic punches and kicks. And they're shit! Seriously people, don't use these attacks, they're worthless. Piss poor damage and piss poor range. Plastered in some stages are vehicles that Shadow can ride. Don't. Please. The best part of the Chaos powers, however, is that when your meter is filled up, Shadow is not only completely impervious to attack, but he also has infinite ammo until the meter runs out. Screw Chaos Blast and screw Chaos Control, infinite ammo is where it's at. When you complete 6 stages, you'll get one of 10 endings, depending on your pathway and depending on what mission you completed in the last stage, which could be the difference between Shadow saving the world from Black Doom, or switching to Black Doom's side at the very last possible second just to be a dick to Sonic. Okay, so you got one ending. How do you get the other one you missed out on? Well, it's simple. Instead of just picking the stage on the stage select screen and complete the other mission for the other ending, you have to start over from Westopolis, complete 6 stages again just to get to the stage you got to the last time, and pick the other mission to get the other ending. So, in order to complete Shadow the Hedgehog, you need to tackle a total of 60 missions, 6 for each ending. How do you get to the 10 endings is all up to you, but regardless of such, this means you have to play Westopolis 10 fucking times, because like I said, you have to begin your journey anew when you want to go for the other ending. Oh my god, what kind of bullshit, stupid, asinine, redundant method of padding the game out is that? I thought it was bad with Sonic Heroes, but that doesn't even compare to this. Oh, why does this game have a last story segment? Can I just be fine with completing the game once and be happy with the ending I get? No, I can't, because not only does my pathway story suck ass, I know that my story isn't legit because of this fucking thing. Now, if you're absolutely fine with just completing 6 stages and getting a completely half-ass ending, then I seriously hope you didn't pay full price for this game. You are ripping yourself off by the fuckload. Take stages like Lost Impact, where you have to destroy every artificial chaos in the stage to complete the hero mission. Every single one. But what really makes it bad is the level itself. It's so confusing, it's so slow, and it's so boring. But you know what? You technically don't even have to touch Lost Impact to get to the true hero pathway. No. You just gotta play the other levels you already played like 6 fucking times to ignore it. I don't feel like killing all the aliens in Westopolis, but I want to get to the true hero path sooner or later, so, you know, I'll just complete the neutral mission in Westopolis and do the hero mission in the next stage, Glyphic Canyon, to get myself on the right track. Okay, I got the gold ring in Westopolis, and here I am in Glyphic Canyon, so let's do the hero mission, and oh, I have to kill a large amount of aliens anyway? Even then, more than when I had to kill in Westopolis? Oh, God. It also doesn't help that the overall level design and aesthetics are just incredibly uninspired. A lot of levels in this game just look bleak, complete with uninteresting textures with zero appeal whatsoever. There are times where I could maybe maybe squint my eyes and convince myself that I'm playing something related to Sonic the Hedgehog, but the game likes to constantly remind me that it's hardcore and bright colors are for pussies. Look at all this fucking purple and gray. This is a man's game about a superpowered 3-foot hedgehog. Look at Shadow go. Yeah, ride that slow moving block. Look at all these pretty streaks of light in a sequence that only requires me to tilt the analog stick at certain points. Watch as Shadow travel at a high speed with no input required from the player, and observe as Shadow falls slowly toward the ground all the damn time. Behold as the terrible controls require me to slowly inch my way through each level to avoid running into shit or running off a cliff. Witness how some missions require you to attack members of your own allegiance, complete with your ally scolding you for doing so. For fuck's sake, this game is horrible!
This blue sky, staring at it from afar. Have I seen it before?
This is one game I'm never touching again, until I have to play it for the Let's Play channel anyway. Oh, and Shadow is not actually a robot either. If you spend 9 minutes in the final fight with Devil Doom, Eggman will contact Shadow and let him know that he's the exact same one from Adventure 2. There you go. Why would they make us wait that long to tie up a loose end from Sonic Heroes? But I've played this game more times than necessary. In fact, I did a complete Let's Play of this entire game over at my Let's Play channel SGB Likes to Play at the beginning of last year. Wow, can't believe it's already been a year already. If for some reason this review doesn't satisfy you, you can probably get a bit more clarity on my opinions with the Let's Play, assuming you don't mind me stuttering and mumbling like an absolute moron throughout the playthrough. This game actually has quite the number of nicknames: Sonic 360, Sonic 06, Sonic 2006, Sonic Next Gen, or Sonic the Hedgehog! Yeah, written in all caps, just to help distinguish it between the Genesis Classic or the 8-bit game. Well, in July of 2008, I finally managed to grab myself an Xbox 360, and believe it or not, this was the first game I bought for the system. But it didn't come with a manual at first, so a few months later, I got another copy to make it less awkward looking in my collection. My initial impressions were all over the place. There were things that I liked, things that annoyed me, and things that absolutely pissed me off, all at completely sporadic intervals. For those of you unaware, Blaze initially debuted in Sonic Rush, a title for the Nintendo DS that established that Blaze was from a different dimension where she ruled as queen. Here, however, she's from the future. I don't know why they were so quick to retcon Blaze's origin story, considering that Sonic Rush only came out a year before Sonic 06 did. But alright, Blaze is from the future now. Being fed up with the constant battles with Iblis, Silver wishes there was a way to completely destroy Iblis for good. Enter Mephiles the Dark, a being who claims he can help Silver with his request, seeing as he has the ability to travel through time. Mephiles explains to Silver that the being responsible for this apocalypse was none other than our beloved blue hero, Sonic. He does this by showing a projection of Sonic in a fiery background, nothing else. Oh yeah, totally responsible for Doomsday. Silver, without really thinking or consulting Blaze for her opinion, agrees to let Mephiles take them to the past to kill Sonic and prevent Judgment Day. During the present day, we're introduced to Princess Elise, ruler of Soliana, and is quite possibly the palest looking human being I've ever laid eyes upon. If she were any whiter, I would think she's just powder in a dress. Back to the story, Sonic rescues Elise, but she's almost immediately kidnapped again the moment Sonic turns his back for a few seconds to deal with more of Eggman's mechs. Instead of immediately chasing after Eggman to rescue the princess, Sonic waits until the next day to get some help from his good old pal Tails. But instead of whipping out the tornado to easily catch up with the A-carrier, the two decide to fool around in Wave Ocean in hopes of catching a moving aircraft on foot. Unsurprisingly, the two miss the A-carrier where they decide to recuperate back in Soliana. Don't you just love it when a level means absolutely nothing in terms of plot? There's even one point where the guards won't let you through until you guess who the captain of the squad is, which turns out to be the very first person you talk to. What's this town's damage? Do your fucking job already, assholes! Is this supposed to be played for laughs? Is the fact that the guardsmen do nothing of anything worth supposed to be funny? Well, I'm not laughing. It isn't humorous, it's fucking annoying! Eventually, Sonic manages to rescue Elise once again from Eggman's desert prison, where she explains to Sonic that 10 years ago, Soliana was almost completely destroyed by the fury of their own god Solaris, using the flames of disaster, which is what Eggman wants to harness to conquer the world. Yep, Soliana throws festivals annually just to make sure their god doesn't wipe them out, because that's what we need in a Sonic game, a civilization that worships their god out of fear. But before Silver can deliver the final blow, Amy suddenly appears in the nick of time to save Sonic. Earlier in the story, Amy confuses Silver for Sonic, causing Silver to miss his first opportunity to take Sonic out. Amy, feeling sorry for causing Silver to lose what he was looking for, decides to help Silver and find the person he's trying to find, completely unaware that it was Sonic himself. Amy ditches Silver, causing him to wonder if it's truly right to kill someone for the sake of a good future, with Blaze giving him an answer that could be best summed up as, Silver and Blaze continue their hunt for Sonic. Well, to be more accurate, Silver continues his hunt for Sonic because Blaze really doesn't do anything in this story. She just stands there, supposedly acting as Silver's mentor and such, but she never has any input on anything. She's probably the most worthless character in this game story-wise, and it really makes me wonder what the point of bringing her here was. Okay, now it's time for the story to actually start going somewhere. You see, Shadow's story begins with him on a mission to infiltrate Eggman's base in the White Acropolis to rescue Rouge and the object she was sent to collect in the first place. The people who sent him on this mission? Gun. Yeah, Shadow now works for Gun, the same people who gave him so much shit in Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog. Jesus Christ, when Shadow said he put the past behind him in the last game, he really fucking meant it. Me? I think I hold a little more resentment for the government that made my life a living hell in the past, and I sure as hell would never consider working for them. But okay, that's Shadow's choice, I guess. It's an awfully confusing choice, but I can probably think of 2 reasons why he made it in the first place. Meanwhile, Elise attempts to escape from Eggman with the help of Amy, but wouldn't you know, she gets captured almost immediately after entering her castle. Sonic and Shadow perform chaos control, allowing the game to travel back to the present day, but before Shadow enters the portal, he notices Mephiles and gives chase. Mephiles badly tries to convince Shadow to join the dark side, to which Shadow clearly rejects because he's already had enough of that shit in the last game, and that this guy's name is fucking Mephiles. It might as well be Mephistopheles, or better yet, the devil. Meanwhile, Sonic rescues Elise, again, but is interrupted by Silver, again, causing Elise to become captured, again. Christ, didn't the writers see how tiresome this was getting? Before Silver can finish Sonic off, he's rescued by Shadow in the nick of time. As Sonic attempts to rescue Elise for the 16th time, Shadow and Silver duke it out, with Shadow clearly standing in charge of the entire match thanks to his chaos control.
I always look forward to that.
Apparently, because time travel is such a chaotic plot element, Shadow was always meant to seal Mephiles inside the Scepter of Darkness 10 years ago, but there's just one little problem with that. Shadow was still cryogenically frozen on Prison Island during that time. There's no way he could have been the one destined to seal Mephiles. It makes no fucking sense. Okay, just to bring up this point because I know someone out there will, but Sonic 2006 was originally meant to be a continuity reboot for the Sonic universe. We would have had all the characters from Adventure 1 and onward with none of the backstory, and while this would explain why Shadow would ever consider joining forces with Gun, or how Shadow is supposedly the one who was meant to seal Mephiles 10 years ago in the past, this concept is completely thrown out the window with Sonic Generations, which treats Sonic 06 as canon alongside every other 3D Sonic game. Oops. Well, since this isn't a reboot, then that means Shadow, at some point or another, snuck out of Prison Island one night, visited Soliana because he read on the brochure that the food was good, and helped the Duke of Soliana seal Mephiles inside the Scepter of Darkness. Shadow then returned back to his sleeping tube back on Prison Island, where in 10 years' time, Dr. Eggman will release him, kicking off the events of Sonic Adventure 2. Time travel is bullshit!
Why time travel? That's almost never a good plot device, because if it's done incorrectly, which is very easy to do, shit like this can happen. And we're not even done with the story yet.
As Shadow is sealing up Mephiles, Silver attempts to finish off Iblis in its purest form. The Duke of Soliana informs Silver that Iblis must be sealed inside a royal soul, with the perfect candidate being his only daughter, Princess Elise. Father of the Year, ladies and gentlemen. Before the Duke dies, he informs us, the players, because there's no way he could be possibly talking to the unconscious Elise, that if she were to ever cry, it would release Iblis from within her, bringing destruction in its wake. You heard that correctly. If she ever cries, Iblis would be released. Making me believe that Elise would never ever cry for 10 years, especially after the death of her father, is really stretching it, game. Does this mean she can't laugh too hard either? Do tears of joy count? How does someone not cry for 10 years? I don't believe that. I absolutely refuse that idea. It's dumb. But before Silver heads into the portal, he gives Princess Elise the blue Chaos Emerald he possessed, telling the unconscious girl to think of it as a lucky charm, which explains how Princess Elise had the blue emerald in the beginning of the game in the first place, unless you played Shadow's story, which has Silver jump into the portal with the blue Chaos Emerald still in his hand.
Oops.
Meanwhile, Sonic, yeah, remember him, escorts Princess Elise back to her castle where she is once again captured by Dr. Eggman. For fuck's sake, did the writers of the story seriously not realize how monotonous this was getting? Where are the damn guards? Where's Sonic when this is all happening? Why is Tails trying to chase the damn egg carrier in Wave Ocean again? Why did Sonic seriously think leaving Elise alone would be a good idea? Somebody, for the love of God, do something right! Sonic and Silver get the idea to use Chaos Control once more to travel back in time to save Elise before the ship crashes, but Sonic insists on doing it alone. You know, because it worked so fucking well before. Silver agrees and heads back to his own future with the plan to permanently seal Iblis for good. Dear God, what is wrong with these people? Why doesn't anybody realize the potential they have with the ability to time travel at will? Why does Silver not insist on accompanying Sonic in the past to ensure a good future for Silver and Blaze? It can't be a stable time loop issue. It can't be because they want to make sure not to fuck with the past too much. Otherwise, Shadow would never even consider interfering with past events to make sure Mephiles was sealed. If Silver had all the intents and purposes of going to the past and changing the future for the better, then surely he and Blaze must have realized that they would no longer exist after destroying the Iblis trigger because future events will have changed, potentially wiping them from existence, which in itself would cause a goddamn paradox! Oh, the story fucking sucks! They can time travel at will! Why does nobody realize this? This also applies to Mephiles. If his ultimate goal is to rejoin with Iblis and become Solaris once again, then why doesn't he just time travel to the point where Solaris originally separated and rejoin with him there? Can you honestly tell me he instigated the whole have Silver kill Sonic to make Elise cry plot just to be a dick? If that's the case, then this story shouldn't have existed in the first place. That's a stupid plot. Every single goddamn character in this game is a complete idiot that don't deserve to have a story centered on them.
Ugh, I'm trying to keep a cool head here, folks. I really am. But this story is just utter garbage. This shit's way too pretentious and full of itself to be the plot of a fucking Sonic game. This is the same series that's given us a super fast blue hedgehog, a fox with two tails, and a fat doctor who imprisons furry woodland creatures inside robots, and now it wants to start taking itself seriously? Give me a fucking break.
Silver attempts to seal Iblis from the future inside his body, but is rejected. Blaze steps in and offers her body as a sacrifice, finally giving her some sort of purpose in this mess of a plot. With Iblis sealed inside Blaze, she transfers herself into a different dimension because she can suddenly do that. What? But it turns out Mephiles isn't exactly through yet, as he manages to distract Sonic and Elise with a shiny object, allowing him to impale Sonic from behind, effectively killing him.
Sonic dies!
Elise, because she somehow got close to Sonic amidst all the damn kidnapping, begins to cry, releasing Iblis from her body. Mephiles uses this opportunity to use the Chaos Emeralds, which he magically summons out of midair to combine with Iblis, becoming Solaris once more. With Solaris whole again, he uses his abilities to send the world into a timeless void where all the main characters are conveniently left intact, except Blaze. That bitch is dead. Everyone's deeply saddened by Sonic's death, but Elise senses Sonic's presence in the wind. What is that, a soul or something? I don't know. But Silver gets the idea that the Chaos Emeralds can be used to bring him back to life, for you see, Sonic is only mostly dead.
Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly dead. There's a big difference between mostly dead and all dead. Please open his mouth.
Sonic and Elise are sent back to the past where Solaris was nothing but a flicker of light, where Elise hesitates to blow out the flame because it would mean changing history.
I don't care what happens to the world.
You disgust me, you senseless bitch. No offense to Lacey Chabert, the voice actress of Princess Elise, but quite frankly, Princess Elise is probably my most hated character in the entire fucking Sonic universe.
She doesn't do anything in this story. In addition to being kidnapped more times than you can fucking count, she doesn't even bother trying to become a stronger character. When the situation becomes dire, she just backs away and clasps her hands together. For the love of God, you're a princess, woman! Show some fucking authority! Your father told you to grow up to be a strong queen. What are you, stubborn? And then she has the audacity, the nerve, to start crying like a little spoiled bitch when she realizes she'll lose Sonic when she erases Solaris from existence. She would rather risk all of existence than lose Sonic again. Fuck you, Elise! Sonic tells Elise to just smile, prompting her to blow out the flame, effectively erasing this game's story from canon. Sort of. Holy shit, what a mess. I know I'm really rubbing it in at this point, folks, but the story is that dreadful. In addition to having one of the most confusing and unnecessarily pompous storylines I've ever seen in a Sonic game, the story as a whole is just not entertaining. There's absolutely no moment in the story that I find enjoyable, except this part. With Sonic, the only thing that happens is the ultimately pointless scuffle with Eggman, complete with the princess being kidnapped 4 fucking times in the same story. 5 if you include her kidnapping after being rescued by Amy. Christ, she's worse than Princess Peach! Sonic doesn't even encounter Mephiles, the main villain of this entire story, once. I was hoping for a good reason why Mephiles put a target on Sonic's head, but since these two never interact, it leaves a very empty feeling.
Look how long this video has gone! I haven't even covered the game itself yet! I literally spent this entire time talking about how bad the story is.
Speed isn't something you earn in this game, rather the game decides when you can go fast or not. Silver, on the other hand, is a naturally slow character. Even though we can clearly see in cutscenes that he's fully capable of blazing through the skies with his psychokinesis, the closest Silver ever gets to doing that is with an upgrade that he can buy at the shop, which allows him to dash a grand total of 3 feet. Fascinating. You see that glowing meter right there? Well, it was supposed to limit Sonic's use of these gems. Thing is, it was never coded properly for Sonic. The meter never decreases, which means you can use these gems as much as you fucking please. Slow down time infinitely to get a humongous time bonus at the end of a stage. Infinite jumps to completely bypass parts of a stage you don't feel like traveling through. Truly, this is game coding from Legends. What a disaster.
Hey, not bad.
But besides the 3 main heroes, there will be times when control will switch to one of the main characters' amigos. It doesn't happen very often, in fact it happens so infrequently it makes you wonder what the point of bringing these characters into the gameplay was anyway. There's even times when you switch control to one of the other main hedgehogs inside another hedgehog story. Guys, if I wanted to play as Silver, I'd fucking pick Silver. Knuckles, oh Jesus, what did they do to you? His ground speed is horrendous, the gliding feels unnaturally heavy, and his fighting skills are nowhere near as free-flowing or as effective as the Adventure days, or in Sonic Heroes for that matter. Why break something that didn't need to be broken? Who was responsible for this design choice? I could easily classify Knuckles as the worst character in the game, but that honor goes to Amy Rose. Amy, for some reason or another, has decided to revert back to her gameplay style in Adventure 1, which I wasn't terribly fond of to begin with. Thing is, it's even worse here. Terrible ground speed, an incredibly delayed hammer swing, a double jump that kills all mid-air momentum, and an extremely pointless invisibility technique that makes it hard to judge where your current position is. Poor Amy, she was on her way to becoming a good character, and then this game happened. People, this game is the reason why I don't like hub worlds in a Sonic game. Besides being uninteresting to look at, none of the townspeople are engaging in any sort of way. Only one person immediately springs to mind, the accordion player, because not only does he sport a different getup from the usual crowd, he's actually playing the accordion.
That's great stuff there, accordion man. Now play me the Pokemon.
Everybody Pokemon!
For Silver, we have Dusty Desert, more specifically, the end of Silver's run-through in Dusty Desert. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about, the billiard puzzle where you have to guide this giant ball with Silver's bitch slaps through this L-shaped corridor and into the hole at the end of the pathway. This is probably the most infamous part of the game, and the main reason why people hate Silver the Hedgehog so much. Yes, it's that bad. The entire structure of the puzzle is just bullshit. It's terrible enough that you can only hit the ball a certain amount of times before it explodes, and that the ball itself is on some sort of countdown, but trying to guide this thing with this game's physics engine is just a royal pain in the dick. The loading times certainly don't help either, they're everywhere. Even when you install the game into the hard drive, that doesn't cut down the sheer amount of load times we run into when playing the game. Why does this game need to load the boss intro and when the boss dies? No other Sonic game needed to do that before, why now? Why does a town mission need 2 separate load times just to begin, and 2 separate load times to end? That's not even counting the town missions that have load times within the town mission itself. Fucking Aristotle in this bullshit counting game. You wanna know what's even more fucked up? There's a town mission in Shadow's story that only has 1 load time to load up the mission. Yeah, you simply approach the guy, he tells you about the mission with no load time in between, and then the actual mission loads. Why couldn't they all be like this? Rock launch! Speaking of controls, Jesus, okay, I'm gonna assume someone in development complained that the control in Shadow the Hedgehog was too damn slippery. On that, I can agree. So what did they do here? Make it extremely precise. Just a slight tap on the analog stick is enough to have a character make an instant 90-degree turn. Let go of the analog stick, characters will almost immediately grind to a halt, adding further credence that these characters have no weight to them. Similar to my opinions on the adventure titles, I only get enjoyment from a portion of this game. I'm not saying Sonic 06 as a whole is a guilty pleasure, oh god no, with this story and periodically frustrating game design, fucking please. Every character with the exception of the human models is constructed pretty nicely, and it's about on par with an early Xbox 360 title. The presentation, on the other hand, is bad. The lip syncing is terrible, the character animations are way too puppet-like, even for human characters like Elise, and the voice acting is some of the worst the series has ever produced.
No way!
I'm not sure what to blame, the awful story, the awful direction, I don't know, but no one seems to be putting any real effort here.
And for God's sake, Sega, what's your fascination with the line, long time no see?
Long time no see.
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 Long time no see. Long time no see.
Long time no see. Long time no see.
How long is this gonna go on?
If you guys choose tag mode, however, you have to complete a certain amount of stages with a limited amount of lives that both players share. Just pray to God that the stage doesn't have a huge vendetta against someone, or somebody might be taking a few too many meteors to the face. Admittedly though, it's still hilarious to see.
Here's to Sonic's next 3D game, and here's hoping it's a good one. Now, onward to new adventures. It's a brand new year, and there's a whole lot of shit to get done. So, I'll see you guys later.